Do you know Bakari Sellers?
Sure.
So Bakari Sellers is a friend. And on Inauguration Night 2017, Bakari says, let's go to the Trump Hotel. And I said, are you kidding me? No way I'm not going there. And he said, why? They're not going to, I'll protect you. I'm like, no, not against, I'm not afraid of anyone beating me up because I'll kick their ass. There's so much rage inside of this body, I'll kick their ass. And he said, why don't you want to go? I said, because I am seeing someone, number one, and I don't want to be hit on so much by a guy. And he goes, you gay guys, you want every straight guy to be gay. I'm like, no. And he said, come with me. I was like, okay. So I go, everyone's buying me drinks. Don Lemon is here, blah, blah, blah. And then all of these guys are over talking to me and sort of rubbing up against me and whatever. And Bakari's like, oh my God, you're right. I had no idea. He had no idea. And I don't think they're doing it to just normal heterosexual men. I think they're doing it to gay men who they know because they know that they're gay. And so they're shooting their shot.
Tim Pool is going after Don Lemon and other woke people such as him. But more specifically in this video, he's going after Don Lemon, who told Bill Maher that you can't be black and Republican. And obviously that's calling, the MAGA movement racist and all these things. Let's get into this clip here where Tim Pool absolutely annihilates Don Lemon for these ridiculous statements that Don Lemon was making here live on Bill Maher's podcast, the Club Random Podcast.
On the latest episode of Club Random, Bill Maher's podcast, Don Lemon and Bill Maher debate how MAGA feels about black people. Quote, a huge faction is really effing racist. Well, I'd like to just pause and say, honestly, I think a lot of people are racist. I think Democrats are extremely racist. I think Don Lemon's very racist. Bill Maher's probably a lot less racist than a lot of them. And I mean that sincerely. But come on, you're going to play this game? It's 2025. It has been 10 years of Democrats screaming racism. It ain't going to fly. But this is the debate they get into. Bill Maher opens up by talking about this SNL sketch where Tom Hanks is like, I ain't shaking my hands with that guy, And here we go. What we end up with is a viral clip of Don Lemon saying you can't be a black Republican. And Bill Maher says, I think that many people would find that insulting. And Don Lemon doubles down and says, so what? Democrats can't learn. And this is why their approval ratings in the gutter. It's why people don't like the party anymore. Now, I'm not so naive to think the Democrat approval rating down to 29% is simply because every single person who's a Democrat is like, I don't like these people. It's because the party represents no one. Everybody wants something different. I was a passive Democrat, I'd say, for a while. I didn't like the Republican Party. It was not a part of whatever that was, not an overtly religious individual. But I can't say that Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Donald Trump were oh so different from me. But here we are now in that camp. You got an eclectic bunch. You got Donald Trump increasing his voter share among Hispanics, Asians, black voters, and they keep calling him racist because it's nonsense. Let's read the story, my friends, but smash that like button. Don Lemon and Bill Maher debate how MAGA feels about black people. Really? I got the clip, but let's read. Bill Maher and Don Lemon argued over the character of the MAGA movement on the latest episode of the former's Club Random podcast, during which the latter insisted that a huge faction of President Donald Trump's fans are really effing racist. The conversation began with Lemon recalling being hit on by various men during a visit to the Trump Hotel in D.C. on the night of Trump's first inauguration back in 2017, which caused Maher to muse. The idea that they would be hostile. I mean, I know a lot of MAGA people. One person was hostile, interrupted Lemon. I'm going to tell you, I fully expect that if Don Lemon goes to any kind of Trump event, people will be hostile to him. I'm not saying they're going to attack him or yell at him. They're going to go up to him and they're going to be like, hey, X, Y, and Z, you did this, you did that, you said this. It's because there's real reasons to be critical of this guy. They got the clip. We do have the trans.
I'm curious to see what you guys think. And I feel like I know the answer. I feel like everybody knows the answer, right? If Don Lemon goes to a MAGA event, I mean, people aren't going to be super friendly to him. They'll probably make fun of him, but they're not going to be super hostile. They're not going to say, get out. You have dark skin. Get the hell out of here. Like, that's not going to happen, dude. That doesn't really happen anywhere, And I'm not someone who says that racism doesn't exist. It obviously does exist, Like when growing up, I don't know why I said growing up as if it wasn't like 5 years ago. When I was in college, I had 3 black roommates. I've always had a lot of black friends, And I have black friends too. You know what I'm saying? But no, like seriously, I've had black friends my entire life, and I did like I would see certain things happen where I was like, oh shit, like that's racism, right? like it was no doubt about it. You know, with police encounters, or there was this one thing that happened in a convenience store one time. So I know that it exists, right? But it's not even anywhere near as prominent as these people like Don Lemon make it out to be. It's not even close, dude. Like it's not even close. And I refuse to believe that if Don Lemon went to a MAGA event, that people would say, "Get out, Blackie." Like that's not gonna happen. Nobody's going to say that, dude. That's not how it is. I mean, there might be a few people in the country that would do stuff like that, but they wouldn't do it in public. You know, they wouldn't do it at an event. It's just, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think if Don Lemon went to a MAGA event, do you think he'd be treated poorly? I don't think he'd be treated like a king, but he wouldn't be treated like, get the hell out of here. You know, people would probably make fun of him and make jokes and stuff like that and try to interview him and try to debate him and stuff like that. But they wouldn't kick him out. They wouldn't treat him like shit. Like they would just, it would be like, you know, the opposition was there. But it's not how Democrats treat Republicans, where they say, shun your entire family. And if your family voted for Donald Trump, don't go to Thanksgiving, or don't allow them at your Thanksgiving, whatever. They wouldn't do anything like that. Not even close.
Description here, and I do have some clips. Let's play this first and see where they're at.
Yeah, do you know, you watch CNN, right? Do you know Bakari Sellers?
Sure.
So Bakari Sellers is a friend. And on Inauguration Night 2017, Bakari says, let's go to the Trump Hotel. And I said, are you kidding me? No way, I'm not going there. And he said, why? They're not going to, I'll protect you. I'm like, no, not against, like, I'm not afraid of anyone beating me up because I'll kick their ass. There's so much rage inside of this body, I'll kick their ass. And he said, why don't you want to go? I said, because I am seeing someone, number one, and I don't want to be hit on so much by a guy. And he goes, you gay guys, you want every straight guy to be gay. I'm like, no. And he said, come with me. I was like, okay. So I go, everyone's buying me drinks. Don Lemon is here, blah, blah, blah. And then all of these guys are over talking to me and sort of rubbing up against me and whatever. And Bakari's like, oh my God, you're right. I have no idea. He had no idea. And I don't think they're doing it to just normal heterosexual men. I think they're doing it to gay men who they know, because they know that they're gay, and so they're shooting their shot. Yeah. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
No, let's just pause real quick and
no, let me pause real quick, okay? That is the dumbest statement I've ever heard. This is what literally everyone says about right wingers, and even people like Bill Maher say this. You know, like Tim Pool was reacting to this clip of Don Lemon being on Bill Maher's podcast. I do a lot of reactions and commentaries over Bill Maher's podcast, and Bill Maher says this constantly, where he'll say doing comedy shows in right-wing areas and right-wing states or cities is a whole lot more enjoyable than doing comedy shows in left-wing areas, because nobody can take a joke. And honestly, Republicans are just more fun to be around. You know, they just are. People who just are not super politically correct. They can have a joke. They can laugh at things. They're just a lot more pleasant to be around. And their lives are a lot more enjoyable, because they can laugh, because they don't have a stick up their ass all the time. You know, like if Don Lemon, like, yeah, man, they would treat him like a normal human. You know, it's not because they're trying to hit on a gay guy. What the hell is he talking about?
Entertain the differences between the left and the right. Don Lemon said he went to the Trump inauguration party at the Trump Hotel and people were trying to engage in adult relations with him. That is the literal opposite of what leftists do to people on the right. Hey, Don, let me tell you about my experience when I was not going to a leftist event, when I was going to the Deplorable in D.C. at the National Press Club. Very professional. Yeah, none of the guys were hitting on me. They were throwing bricks at my head. As I was entering the building at the press club during Trump's first inauguration, far leftists across the street were lobbing projectiles, cans, bottles, bricks, rocks, garbage, whatever, over the police line at us, and we had to run in covering our necks. That's what we saw. You go to the Trump Hotel Club on inauguration night, and the worst that happened to you is that guys were trying to mack it to you. This is the difference between the left and the right. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just claim literally every single person on the right is gay and trying to hook up with guys that show up. My point is no hostility for Don, quite the opposite.
No, that really doesn't surprise me. But I do
Yeah.
think that the idea that you would go over there, even if this was a
If you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Trump.
It was a Trump hotel on
Trump
inauguration
crowd.
night.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a Trump crowd.
Okay.
So let's talk about where he calls everybody racist. Thanks for clearing things up, Don. Bill Maher says, let me ask you your opinion on this. Saturday Night Live, 50th anniversary show, they did one thing. They did a sketch where Tom Hanks puts on a MAGA hat. So he's a Trumper. And then Kenan Thompson comes over to shake his hand, and he won't shake his hand. And I said, this is on Fareed's show the other day. I found, that's so old, you know. I didn't vote for him. I get all the bad things about that administration. But if you think they don't shake black people's hands, it's just, you're wrong. That's not who they are. Lemon says, some of them do. Bill Maher says, Matt Gaetz shakes black people's hands, you know. Kid Rock will shake your hand. It's just not helpful to think like that at half the country. Bro, Byron Donalds is the favorite for the governor of Florida. He's a black man. Thomas Sowell is one of the thought leaders in MAGA. And Clarence Thomas is like the number one biggest guy that everybody is cheering for on the right. It is insanity. These people live in a deluded, paranoid state made up by movies and Saturday Night Live. There is a meme that has gone around for years where they take Clarence Thomas's head. He's black, by the way. And they put it over every other justice's head. And they said, the Supreme Court we wish we had. How?
Yeah, it's funny how people like Bill Maher are becoming the voice of reason as well. When after he's been so unhinged for so long, now you bring people like Don Lemon on your show, and you just look like the pinnacle of common sense. You know, like he makes Bill Maher look like a totally rational thinking human being, which he has been more of recently. But I mean, Don Lemon and these people, this is why they don't get any viewership. Like, this is why Don Lemon, I don't know if he technically got fired or if he left CNN, whatever it was, who cares? But then he goes and starts his own podcast on YouTube, and he got like 1,000 viewers on his first podcast. You know, like that's why, because you're deluded. Who are you making content for? Nobody believes this. Nobody genuinely believes this, including Don Lemon, by the way. Don Lemon does not believe this. He's only doing it because he thinks it will get him viewership. All these people, these race baiters, you know, people like Dr. Umar and these people who are like, everybody's racist, you know, everybody hates black people, the whole world is out to get black people. They always have a book to sell. They always have something to sell you to profit off of the fact that white people hate them, right? Always. So nobody without any sort of anything to gain and common sense inside of their brain believes this stuff. Nobody with lived experience believes this stuff, including Bill Maher, who was having to shut down Don Lemon here, where he's saying Matt Gaetz shakes black people's hands, you know, Kid Rock will shake your hand, etc. They'll all shake his hand, and they'll all buy him a drink probably. That's why people flee to the right wing. That's why people like Joe Rogan, who has he probably aligns politically, not probably, he definitely aligns politically more with the left wing, more with Democrats. People like Russell Brand probably aligns more with Democrats politically, but they flee to the right wing because these people are just insane. And guess what? They're welcomed with open arms every single time. Every single time they're welcomed with open arms. And that's why the right wing is starting to win big. You know, Donald Trump won the popular vote for the first time in a very long time. And there's huge signs of culture shifts, man. And this is why, because of people like Don Lemon, who are he's just never going to learn, I guess. And the thing is, like, he's already learned, right? I don't think Don Lemon is as stupid as the women of The View, who I think they genuinely just are idiots and they believe the things that they say because they're just that stupid. Like, they're just dumb. They're dumbasses. Like, there's nothing they can do about it. There's no saving them. Don Lemon is too smart to believe this BS that he says, okay? He's too smart. Even Don Lemon doesn't believe this stuff. So if you're someone who follows Don Lemon, one of the 1,000 people who follow Don Lemon and watch his stuff, you are sick in the head. Okay, you are an extremely low IQ individual. Anyway, let me know in the comments you guys think about Tim Pool's thoughts here on Don Lemon and what he was saying to Bill Maher. What do you think about this whole Tim Pool versus Don Lemon here on Bill Maher's podcast?